Howdy. You're listening to the Best of the Rest podcast with Stix and Freeza. I'm Stix, and this is Freeza.
How the bloody hell are you?
Living the dream.
Changing it up a bit.
Yeah, why not?
Nice.
Right, so summer break, no Formula One to watch. Life is boring.
Yep.
Literally just looking at a wall, waiting for time to pass until the next race rolls around. So what should we do with this time, Freeza?
I don't know. I guess we could review some drivers so far.
Yeah, we could reflect on the season and talk about who was shit.
And who was good.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Ooh.
That's a great idea. Come up with that on the fly.
Oh, geez, you're good, Stix.
Man, we're a professional outfit around here.
No doubt.
Right. Now, what sort of order would make sense then to review the drivers?
Numerical.
Yeah, good place to start.
Alphabetical.
Constructors.
Constructors.
Yeah.
That's an idea.
Hmm.
Worst to best.
Yes.
Bit of reverse constructors.
Because people would want to hear the good teams and what we rated them.
Last.
So we'll leave that later on for viewer retention.
Bit of clickbait.
Hey.
You got to listen to the end to see what we gave Verstappen.
Fucking hate those videos online.
Actually, one from to do hang on to is what we rate Perez. Top for constructor, but is he top for drivers?
Fucking Perez. Every video online now is literally like, oh, wait to the end. Or like you watch a compilation of some funny video and it's like, oh, the last one's the funniest.
Yeah.
Oh, the last one got me. So like everything is just people trying to optimize for retention.
Or it'll be like, listen to what someone said about something and it's like they've completely blown it out of proportion. It's not even a controversial comment or anything.
The internet's a wild, wild place.
Certainly is, especially
wilder.
when we're on there.
Yeah. Somebody gave us a microphone or two.
I found mine in the skip bin.
Yeah, that's why our audio quality shit. Right, so 10th place in the constructors then.
Kick Sauber steak.
Oh, what a fucking name and an even better looking car.
Oof. Get that fluorescent green.
Lime green, baby.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. Zhou Guan Yu himself. Lead us away, Freeza. Out of 10.
Without further ado, a big 3.
3 from me as well.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to say. He's had a bit of poor form. It just hasn't really... It's been weird because he's been shit, but sort of not obviously shit.
No. So he's driving an absolute hunk of shit of a car.
It's probably, hides some of his performances.
When he's still qualifying like a second behind other people or finishing the race so far behind, it's like you, even for the piece of shit that you're driving, you're still not doing it justice. So it's
can't give him much more than that.
For his teammate Bottas, I've gone a 6.
You've gone a 6.
Yeah, just above a pass mark. He has had a few good qualies and taken it a few places, not into the points. But for how shit it looks like the car is, to me, it's been worthy of a 6.
I had a quick look at the driver standings before we started, and he's sitting 21st. So does that mean there's 3 drivers on 0, but does that mean the other drivers have got a better finishing position than him?
Yeah,
in one race?
They've either finished higher or more consistently higher.
Right. Because that surprised me. I've given him a 4 based off of those numbers, which sort of, because I feel like he's been better than Zhou, like quite a bit. But again, that car's so shit that it hasn't even looked like getting anywhere near the points.
I think he's put in a couple of top 10 qualies though, or at least very close to it.
Yeah, just can't keep it there on a Sunday. But I mean, the fucking team couldn't keep the wheel nuts on the car at the start of the season. So, I mean, that's a pretty low bar and they couldn't even get over that.
Can't blame the driver for that.
So, I mean, they're fucking not looking like scoring points for the second half of the season either. So,
No.
yeah. Anyway, I digress. We'll move on. Well, actually, we'll add those scores together and give an overall rating out of 20. I've given Kick a 7 out of 20 as a combined driver/team rating.
Well, my combined equals a 9 out of 20.
It's not good. Williams. And we'll kick off with the big man himself, Alex Albon.
Albon, I've gone a 7.
7.
Yes. What are you going?
A 6. A little bit
6.
harsher on Albon.
Yep. Yeah, I think he snagged himself a few good results, quite a few good qualies. Yeah, not really taking the car to where we kind of expected with how he performed last year. But I feel like that's a bit more in the car than Albon.
Williams has been a bit disappointing to this point of the season. I had higher expectations, definitely.
Yeah.
Sargent. I've gone with a 2 out of 10 for Sargent.
May have gone a little harsher.
What have you done?
I've gone a 1 out of 10.
A 1.
The big man has rarely gotten out of Q1. And even when he does, he just plummets back down the ladder like he's driving in reverse.
He can't stay up there, can he?
He'll crash. He'll go off the track on his own. It's no.
Yeah, nah. No
Sorry,
good.
mate. It's even though the car's not looking great,
He's making it look worse.
Yeah.
He had an okay qualifying performance in the last race before season break. Didn't he go like 13th, 14th, something like that?
Yeah, he had something like that.
Maybe
Decent
12.
quality that made it look like.
And then just fucking no man's land.
Just can't even hold on. Whereas Alpine can make up positions.
Yeah.
So it's not the car. It's not like Haas's tyre issue last year.
It makes me think about, I think it was Suzuka, where he just dropped it mid-race.
Yeah, no one around him. I think Verstappen might have been just about to come around to lap him, and he saw a car in the gravel.
Because he was very close to DNFing. Like, he was deep in that gravel trap and was very lucky to get out of there.
Yeah.
And just, like, when you're at Formula One level, you can't make mistakes unpressured.
Yeah.
And yeah, literally, there's no one around him. Bang. Like, that just signifies Sargent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not great. But we'll move on.
Moving on. So my overall team adds up to an 8 out of 20.
Yeah, I'm same, 8 out of 20. Alpine is the next team.
Who do you want to start with?
Gasly. Pierre
Gasly, I gave a 7.
I've given him a 6.
So, yeah, I feel like he's had a couple of good results. He's had a couple of poor ones, but he's been quite unlucky with some, faults with the car, having to have retirements. I think he's had 3 retirements already.
Yeah.
From car issues.
Couple non-starters too, from memory.
Yeah.
Formation lap.
He's had a
gearbox somewhere.
Monaco, he had the collision with Ocon. Or Ocon dive bombed him.
Yeah.
Didn't put him out of the race, but obviously hindered him. I thought he had a couple of good results and a couple of quite good qualies and practice sessions. I know they're not gospel, but showing that he has got a bit of pace and he can mix it up the top. But then with track evolution, just seems to get jumped.
And they're another team. The cars, like, it looked good. Was it last year? At one point, they were quite competitive. And just no man lands at the start of the season, and they've had a mountain of work to do. So it's been rough on the 2 drivers from there. But yeah, Ocon, I've gone a 5 out of 10.
Ocon, I've gone a 6.
6.
Yeah.
I think, he's just makes poor team decisions, and that's what puts him on the back foot, and that's realistically why he's going his separate ways from Alpine at the end of the year.
Yeah.
He's not a bad driver, but he's just hard to build a team around.
Yeah, he's got his couple of good results. He always seems to be reasonably consistent when he's not crashing out from.
Being a fuckwit.
Yep. But he's had a couple of poor ones. He's had a couple of good results, decent point finishes for an Alpine, especially looking at where they're sitting in the constructors. So,
Like, I mean, the car's not rapid or anything, but he does, like on his day, he, makes that car look all right. Got some okay points at Spa. Yeah. Again, nothing to write home about, but the car is average as well. So, it sort of levels things out.
that gives my overall team for Alpine a 13 out of 20.
I've given them an 11. So a bit harsher on the old Alpine team.
Moving on to Haas.
Old Haas. Let's start with Magnussen.
Magnussen, I've given a 6.
A 6? Okay.
What have you gone for?
I seem to be the teacher you don't want to go to when you need to bump your grades up.
Oh, no.
I've given him a 4.
Oh.
I've gone a 4.
Ouch.
Just doesn't seem to have the pace on Saturday or a Sunday relative to Hulkenberg. Like, he's a team player, which I guess adds a lot of points to him as a driver because, he's going to do the best for the team. But he just can't seem to extract the pace that Hulkenberg can consistently. And then sort of generally speaking, Hulkenberg outdrives him on a Sunday too.
Yeah, so I've gone the 6 for Magnussen being pretty consistent, getting up there a bit more when he has had the opportunity. But as my next grade will probably indicate, I've gone that Hulkenberg has just been outperforming the car a bit. So Magnussen's, pretty consistent, not really doing too bad most times. So there's been a few times where he's right at the bottom and it's like, what's going on? But other than that, I kind of think it's more Hulkenberg's outperforming. So I guess onto that, my rating for Hulkenberg's an 8 out of 10.
Yes. Got an 8 as well.
Yeah.
Not too much to say about Hulkenberg other than rapid on a Saturday, and the car hasn't fallen away as much on a Sunday, so he's been able to bank a lot more points than last season. And yeah, just a consistent driver, and there's a reason why Audi have snabbed him up for, well, probably their main driver, or at least a strong second driver, depending on who they sign, moving forward and build a team around.
Yeah, 100%.
Underrated, realistically. You don't hear a whole lot of talk about Hulkenberg, but he just gets the job done week in, week out.
Yep. I think he's just always kind of been one of those guys that hasn't quite ended up in the right team or the right car to show his full potential.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see him in a Formula A car, if you will.
Yep.
Because I reckon he'd be great.
Yeah, well, hopefully for his sake, Audi get it right and switch it on and
put him up there.
Yeah, we see what he can do.
Right, RB. Ricardo and Yuki.
So, Ricardo, I've gone a 6 out of 10.
Same, 6.
Yep. Pretty consistent. A couple of good results.
Couple of shit results.
Yeah, not really showing too much above and beyond of what the car can do. He got his 4th in the sprint race recently, but nothing really too substantial like we're kind of hoping.
Yeah, I guess shit results probably a bit harsh. There's been nothing that's been horrendous, but relative to Yuki,
yep,
he's just been a little bit off the pace. He's sort of, maybe the season as a whole, he's built a bit of form as the season has progressed. But yeah, he's got a lot to do in the second half of the season if he is going to put his foot forward as the best candidate for that Red Bull seat if Perez doesn't hold on to it for next season.
Needs to show his worth.
Yuki Tsunoda.
What have you gone?
I've put him down as an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's understandable. I've gone a 7.
7?
Yep.
I rate Yuki. I think apart from the odd race here and there, he's done a fantastic job. Scored a lot of points in that car. It hasn't necessarily been it probably started off the season probably the fastest of the midfield, if you don't include Aston in that midfield.
Yep.
Aston's sort of in this weird zone between the midfield and, or between the back end of the pack and the front.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of teams have sort of closed that gap in the second part before the summer break. And yeah, Yuki just continues to score points, consistent. He's either in Q3 or only just missed out on it.
Yep.
Can't really ask much more. And considering the start of the season that he had, where he tried to kill Ricardo on the cooldown lap, like he's pretty much hasn't put a foot wrong.
Yep. Yeah, no, he's performed quite well. Yeah, consistently around those minor point finishes. So,
like he had a bit of a prang, but I mean, one crash is neither here nor there. Happens.
Yeah, yeah. They were able to get it repaired and ready for the race. So,
yeah,
wasn't too bad for the young fella.
So the team, obviously, 14 out of 20 for me.
13 out of 20 for me.
Yeah, right. So Aston.
Do you want to lead us away with the son of the company?
Looking at the number that I've written down, I feel like I think my brain must have fucking switched off when I wrote this number down. I've given him a 5.
I'd like to know why you said that, because I gave him a 5 as well.
I feel like I was a little bit too lenient.
Bit nice.
5's a bit like
I think he's on par. There's nothing outstanding. There's nothing like absolutely horrendous. He's had his few crashes, but then he has got his decent point finishes here and there as well.
Looking at the points, Alonso has 49 and he has 24.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably want to see that number a little bit closer. Like Alonso's doubled him, but it's Stroll. In terms of Stroll, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Alonso, I've gone a 7 out of 10.
I've gone a 6.
I feel like Alonso, a 6 is probably quite reasonable. He's just sort of been no man's land.
He's just been anonymous. Both him and Stroll, really. There's been that many times where the race is finished and you think I didn't even see
them
Aston
in no action. Oh yeah, they got a few points. Nothing really happened. That commentators don't really talk about them because they're just mid. Nothing happens. Cruise along, get a few points. And again, it's probably because they're quicker than those back-ended teams. Like the 5 teams behind them, typically speaking, they have them covered.
Yeah.
But they're not quick enough to get those 4 teams in front of them.
Yeah, they're still 20 seconds or so off the back of the Formula A as such.
So they're just in like a weird zone at the moment. It would have been good to see them actually on the curtails of Formula A, because last season they started on fire and it was like, yeah, we got another contender at the front here. But yeah, they've just been, yeah. 12 out of 20 for me.
Mine totals to 11 out of 20.
All right. Mercedes up to the big boys.
Yeah, so this is probably a bit of a different result now, seeing as the last couple of races. So I'm judging based a bit more off more recent form rather than how they started.
It's hard to take recency bias out of the ratings because you sort of think, in recent races, and Mercedes have been that team that have come to the forefront, so it's sort of hard. What were they doing at the start of the season to even venture that far back?
Well, I've just looked at, I know right at the start they were, a bit off the pace, but they've won the last 3 out of the 4 races or something. So, I guess we'll kick it off with Russell. I've gone for an 8 out of 10. 8
out of 10 for me as well.
Yep. And jumping quickly across to Hamilton, and we'll chat about both. I've gone an 8 out of 10 for Hamilton as well.
Great minds think alike.
Beautiful.
So that's obviously 16 out of 20 for both of us.
Yep.
Just both consistent drivers. It's almost like if one, I don't even know if you call it off the pace, but if one's down a little bit, the other one seems to be pushing top 4. as of recently anyway. Like
Yep.
pushing up that pointy part of the grid. And I don't know, Mercedes just had sort of sneaky pace. It was all talk around McLaren, but McLaren, Ferrari, maybe they're the teams that are going to push Red Bull. But yeah, it seems to be Mercedes.
Yeah, just kind of come out of nowhere and started winning a few races and first and second if George's DNF didn't happen. So
And they 2-gun drivers. I think Russell, yeah, it's almost been this first half of the season. Russell's started to prove himself. Like he's worth that seat. He's worth being the driver that Toto builds the team around once Hamilton has left.
Yep.
There's been a lot of speculation around, what's going to happen to that second seat? And, we need Antonelli. He's a generational talent. But, yeah, don't overlook Russell.
No.
He's got a lot more to give there, and he's already, dished up a few performances that are quite unbelievable, really.
Yep.
And that Spa one being probably the best performance of his career, and it's been taken away from him. But that doesn't take away the fact that what he actually put together.
Yeah, what he achieved.
Right. Any more to add?
Not from me.
So we'll move on to the red team, Ferrari, Sainz and Leclerc.
Sainz, I've gone for a 7 out of 10.
I've gone 7 as well. And I don't really know why. It's almost like the reverse of Mercedes.
Exactly.
As in, like, Ferrari were good at the start of the season, a few race wins, but they've just sort of fallen off. So recency bias makes you feel like they're not really thereabouts.
Yeah, they've kind of dropped off the pace. It's not Ferrari there to pick up the pieces when Verstappen's not.
Yeah.
Leclerc did get a pole at Spa.
But they just didn't seem to be quick.
But then, in the race just seemed to drop off again.
Leclerc.
Yeah, well, I guess jumping across to him, I gave him a 7 out of 10 as well.
I've gone an 8.
Yeah.
Only because he's scored a few more points and, well, realistically, they've probably been a little bit sort of inseparable, really. You wouldn't really pick one over the other. But, again, probably Spa, Leclerc putting it on pole, considering the car wasn't really the quickest out there, minus Max Verstappen, but he managed to put a lap together.
Yep.
That's the talent of Leclerc. He can do that on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's 15 out of 20 for Ferrari.
That gives me a 14 out of 20.
McLaren. Your boys.
Do you want to start us off with Aussie Oscar?
Old Piastri. Could be slightly biased, but I don't think so. I've got a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Yourself?
8 out of 10.
8. Give us some thoughts. What got you to an 8?
Still a bit of a rookie, but driving phenomenally well. Getting to know himself and the team and the car. Probably started a little slow, but starting to really put together some good performances now. So yeah, I think 8 is in. Yeah, he's getting there, but he's still got a little bit to go before he shows himself he's full potential.
Yeah, I think probably basing the 9 off the fact that he's a second-year driver. On merit, it's probably not quite a 9, but what he's done for a second-year driver, and there's definite improvement there over his downfalls and shortcomings of last season with tyre management, and that causing him to suffer towards the end of the race and end of stints. And he's pushed Norris the last month before the summer break. There's a lot of hype around Norris, and he's going to beat Verstappen and push the championship battle. And Piastri's been right there and sort of beaten Norris a couple times. Yep. One in Hungary, a bit, iffy.
Yep.
But yeah, you still got to get the job done, and he can consistently does it.
Yep.
Doesn't seem to get rattled. Pressure doesn't seem to get to him, which on the other side of the fence, that does seem to appear to get to Norris at time to time. Talking about Norris, what did you give him, Freeza?
Norris, I went an 8 out of 10. Would you go?
I've given him a 9 as well.
Yeah. So Norris got it going a bit quicker than Piastri. Has been putting in some very good quality performances, but I did have to drop him a bit from his recent race start performances.
It just seems to be his kryptonite at the moment. If he could fix that up, he would be, well, a lot closer to Max. It just seems to, I don't know what it is, keeps bottling at that first couple corners or just the start as a whole.
Yeah.
And
I think there was a stat as well that every pole position that he's gotten, he has not led after the first lap of the race. So not that he hasn't even won it, like by the end of lap one, and it's normally even the first couple of corners.
That's rough.
He's normally been jumped by someone.
And the thing is, he's aware of it because you hear him talk in the post-race presses about the start. I've got to work on that, and I've messed it up again. And you can see he gets down on himself. So it's going to start getting into his head, and it becomes a pattern, sort of like that stat going around about Leclerc. You know how many poles he's had to lack of conversions and rah. Like that sort of starts to become a little bit of a thing. Yeah. But it's even more prevalent for Norris because Leclerc, it's the whole race, and realistically, it's not. That stat was out of his control because it's Verstappen in a rapid Red Bull. There's not much he can do about that.
Yeah.
But Norris, it's all Norris.
Yeah.
Like, if he can nail that start, clean first lap, he's away.
Yeah, the McLaren's arguably the fastest cars at the moment, and he can't hold on to it.
Like, he can't fuck that up. If he's got to have a flawless second half of the season if he's any chance to push Verstappen for the championship. So he can't afford to be even giving Verstappen a sniff.
Yeah.
Like, you think at Spa, if he had a clean start and was able to distance himself from Verstappen, he would have finished in front.
Yeah.
More than likely. And then, even though it wouldn't have been much, it would have been a few points to his advantage over Verstappen. So, one to watch for the second half of the season anyway.
Yeah, and the pressure and the expectation would be unreal, but yeah, got to get those race starts sorted.
And that's why you get paid the big bucks.
Oh, yeah.
So 18 out of 20 for McLaren.
Gives me a 16 out of 20.
So the last team, old Red Bull. Max Verstappen.
Yeah, we'll start with the Maxi boy.
9 for me.
I've also got a 9.
Not really. Not there's really much to fault with Max.
Yeah.
He's put a pretty good half season together. But yeah, just.
Well, the first kind of quarter of the season, I guess, was faultless.
Untouchable.
That was 10s. But the second quarter, I guess, yeah, a little bit off the pace. Couple of off qualies, which has been making it hard for him because he hasn't had the pace in the car. But he's still been getting it back to either grinding out a win or getting a podium or whatnot. So,
bit grumpy at times, which may throw him off ever so slightly.
Yeah,
but I mean, you can't really ask for much more. I think it's probably a 9 and not a 10 because of the dominance that we've seen from him the last year and a half.
Yeah,
so him not winning every race is sort of like, you're a little bit not off the pace, but you've come back to the pack somewhat.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit for me to give it a 10 too.
Yeah, you've pretty much got to have a flawless season, don't you?
Yeah, because 10, there's no improvement.
Which that was probably last season for Max, or last half of last season probably.
Yeah.
Right, the last driver to wrap this one up.
Sergio Checo Perez.
Fire away, Freeza. What have you given the poor man?
I've gone a 3.
A 3.
What have you?
Gone a 4.
Have you? Yeah.
I don't really know why I've gone a 4.
It's always good in the
Because
ratings.
realistically, he's been fucking shit. Like, bad. I remember last year everyone was talking about, Perez might not come second in the Drivers' Championship. Oh, like, that's not good enough. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
He's sitting 7th at the moment. And if Russell didn't get disqualified, he would have been sitting 8th. And looking like generally probably the 8th fastest car out of those top 4 teams. He's just in no man's land. He's making stupid mistakes. He's qualifying like shit. He's had too many crashes. And the pressure's building and he's crumbling.
Yeah.
He's a bloody deck chair, mate. He's folding under the pressure.
Yeah, well, the first few races, he was doing what was expected. He was getting some podiums, some seconds, thirds. No wins this year.
The pressure started to come.
Yeah, then he gets to that European leg, which he's traditionally struggled with, but the results have been horrendous. Like, from what Verstappen's doing, you can argue that the car's not quite there, but it's still a top 4 team car, like top 2 or 3, easy. And they're not, well, he's not putting it to where it should be. And then you get a race like Spa where he starts on the front row and
goes backwards.
Yeah, still ends up dropping 6-7 positions.
And that's the thing, like it's easy to make up reasons as to why old Perez hasn't been performing. He's struggling on Saturdays and like he's quick on Sundays still, but he puts himself so far back that he can't be expected to do much. Like he's got to cut through the field, rah. But Spa's a perfect example. He's on the front row and he just went backwards.
Yeah, that was his chance. I know we say all he needed to do, but all he kind of needed to do was hold on. Just keep it at the front of the field. If that was Max Verstappen, no one would have been getting close.
Exactly right.
And it's a very fast track, which should still suit the Red Bull. And as it proved, it was very hard to overtake, but still he somehow manages to drop all those positions.
And I know Red Bull have come out and backed him in for the second half of the season. But personally, I feel like if he doesn't seriously improve over the next 4 races, I can see them making a change.
Yep.
But then it sort of feels like, yes, Checo, we're going to lock you in for the second half of the season. Look, you've got no pressure on you now. You've got a contract. We're locking you in. Just to sort of almost baby him a little bit, make him feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So then he can race without that pressure because they know that he's a deck chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, interesting to see how that one goes anyway.
No, look, I understand the logic behind it. So it's up to Checo now to show what he can do. And he's got Mexico coming up in 6 races or whatever it is. So
he can't.
Yeah, they're going to be holding him on to Mexico because if they cut him before, it'll be an uproar.
There'll be riots.
Yeah, there's only 4 or so races after that, so they'll keep him for the rest of the season.
And he can't do any worse than what he did at his home race last year. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, I shouldn't probably call that too early.
No.
Anything could happen.
We'll wait and see.
Rightio. Well, that's our take on the season so far and driver ratings.
That it is. That wraps us up.
We'll see how the second half of the season pans out. Keen to see what unfolds. There's still a little bit of a glimmer of hope of Drivers' Championship, and the Constructors are spicy. We've got a bit of a fight at the front, so a lot to look forward to.
I think first in the Drivers is probably locked away with Max, but probably a bit of a battle going on for second to 5th, 6th kind of thing. So
keen to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, be good.
Well, thanks for listening, you legends.
Thank you.
We will catch you in the next pod.
We will do. Leave us a comment and a review, and we'll love it.
Bloody oath, we'll froth it.
Oof.
Gotcha.
See ya.
Look at this. This is not a dog. This is a piece of shit.